Everybody, the Principal Secretary, Dr. Sharma, the Secretary, Mrs. Pushpa, Mr. Chandan Mitra, Managing Director of Urban Finance and Infrastructure Development Corporation, Mr. Jagdishwar, the Mission Director of MEPMA, and the Director of Municipal Administration, and Sandeep Garg of the Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Welcome to all of you, and of course to all of the municipalities that are represented here today. I think we're a little low as yet. I think people are still strolling in. I'm not sure what the count is, but we're expecting a fairly good representation of all the municipalities in Andhra Pradesh. So as the day wears on, we will see more of them coming in. I would also like to quickly acknowledge the very generous contribution of the NCR HRD Institute in providing this venue and giving us all the support. Mr. Prasad, GSP Prasad and Mr. Ram Prasad have been wonderful and I hear very active and have actively engaged in putting this together for us. And of course our partners ASCII also I'd like to acknowledge and thank and welcome all of you to this. Very quickly, to set the expectations and the role for what we are expecting from this workshop. Two big factors that are shaping urban India, and Andhra Pradesh is no exception in this. One is the growth of population. Over the last century, we've seen the population grow from 1 billion around the globe to 6 billion. The second phenomenon has been the movement towards cities, which again in that same span of 100 years went from 10% population in the cities to now migration towards the cities of 50%. And India is still seeing that transition from land to cities taking place. And this will have tremendous impact not only for each of you in providing for infrastructure to support this kind of a movement in each of your municipalities, but also in the more invisible impact which is on the environment and the stress on the natural resources. Today, the world's pollution that arises, the global pollution, 75% of it comes from cities. About 45% is from buildings and 30% is from the connected issues of transport and vehicular population. So it's quite substantial. And more, especially this century, what you see because of leadership reports like the Stearns report that came out, the State of Our World report of 2008 came out, which talked about the disastrous consequences of the human impact on greenhouse gases and the climate changes that we are witnessing. You had Al Gore who came out with this movie and propagated this, and now it is embraced so vociferously by the new administration in the United States and a lot of the developing countries. It has become the center plate issue. On a global arena, this has become one of the center plate issues, and the impact of that is that there is so much mushrooming. $100 billion have already, just in the last year, have been invested in promoting, in venture capital, in seed funding, in private equity, in corporate research, to promote development in this space on energy efficiency and eco-planning. So this is a huge industry that is getting spawned off, and innovations and technologies are logically better off being done by the market, by the private sector, by market approaches. So for the government, what this means, because in India also we are seeing some of this, not at the kind of pace and at the kind of scale that we see in the West, but we see more and more investment in what is being termed as clean tech, technologies for greening and cleaning and the environment. Evolving, and each state will start looking at this and examining this in greater depth and evolving hopefully very robust policies. But the first in the policies is to create the environment that will encourage the kind of market-based approaches and innovations that we see outside. Because this, innovation is best handled by the market because they have the financial resources and the appetite of risk and the ability to attract the best talents. So it's best that these innovations are pushed towards the market and therefore government's role in this should be one of facilitating this. which means not setting the standards but allowing innovations to take place. The second is of reward and punishment, which is you reward those companies and those enterprises which actually conserve resources, which